I'd like to call this meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, July 13th, 2021. This is our Prescott City Council voting meeting. Thanks for being here, everybody, today. Good to see everyone. Let's call roll, please.
Mayor Mingarelli.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Scholl.
Here.
Councilman Blair.
Yes.
Councilman Good.
Here.
Councilmember Rusing.
Here.
Councilman Sishka.
Here.
Councilman Tenney.
Here.
Yeah.
All are present.
All are present.
All right. Thank you. Okay, we're here to look at the AED annexation, as you all know. What I thought we'd do is hear from Mr. George Worley first, and then John Palladini, and then get right to public comment. So, George?
Thank you, Mayor. I understand that we have a regular meeting at 3 o'clock, so I'll keep my comments
sorry
down
to
about
interrupt
2 hours.
you guys. Jennifer has to read the item title and all of the ordinance titles before you can begin.
Oh, all the ordinance as well? Okay, and my apologies, George. So why don't you read letter A there plus the ordinances as well, Jennifer?
Okay. Consideration of proposed annexation of property belonging to Arizona Eco Development with associated master plan, rezoning, and development agreement approval. Areas are collectively known as AED North and AED South, ANX 18-004, ANX 18-005, MPA 18-002, MPA 18-003, PLN 18-018, and PLN 18-019. Ordinance number 2021-1768. An ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Prescott, Yavapai County, Arizona, extending and increasing the corporate limits of the city and Prescott by annexing approximately 1,658 acres of residentially zoned land, RCU-2A, generally located east of Prescott Regional Airport and north of State Route 89A in Yavapai County, Arizona, into the City of Prescott and assigning zoning classifications thereto. Ordinance number 2021-1769. An ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Prescott, Yavapai County, Arizona, extending and increasing the corporate limits of the City of Prescott by annexing approximately 858 acres of residentially zoned land, RCU-2A, RIL-35, RIL-18, generally located east of State Route 89 and south of State Route 89A in Yavapai County, Arizona, into the City of Prescott and assigning zoning classifications thereto. Ordinance number 2021-1770, an ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Prescott, Yavapai County, Arizona, amending the zoning of certain property within the City of Prescott, generally located east of Prescott Regional Airport and north of State Route 89A, from rural estate 2-acre RE-2A zoning district to natural open space, single family 6 SF-6, industrial transition, industrial general, and mixed use. One more. Sorry.
Look at mine.
I'm sorry. Ordinance number 2021-1771, an ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Prescott, Yavapai County, Arizona, amending the zoning of certain property within the City of Prescott, generally located east of State Route 89 and south of State Route 89A, from rural estate 2-acre RE-2A, single family 35 SF-35, single family 18 SF-18, zoning district to natural open space, NOS single family 6 SF-6, multifamily high MFH, and specially planned community, SPC.
Got them all?
And that is all of them, yes.
Good job. Thanks for doing that. Thank you, Sarah, for keeping us on track. George, back to you.
Keep my comments to shorter than Jennifer's. These are a series of actions required by council to both adopt the DA, the IGA with Prescott Valley, and to affect the annexation of both the north and south parts of AED, along with the associated rezonings and master plans for each of those. What we have is a PowerPoint presentation that lays each of those actions out, so I don't have any additional presentation beyond that. I do know there may be some additional discussion about the DA. We do have a copy of that available. Mr. Palladini has indicated that he would like to talk about a piece of that. So I think it may be best if we move into that conversation, and then I'll call up the actions as they're agendized for council to take action on.
Okay. Later, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. John?
I'm told I'm supposed to avoid touching anything down here since I end up turning it off half the time. So, Mayor and Council, there has been sort of a last-minute addition to the development agreement, and this is section 219. As you can tell, 220 immediately follows. There's a new paragraph G that was added into the development agreement since we've been working on it since last Thursday and got it finalized yesterday. And what 219G does, and if I could scroll, I want to show you, 219 is the section that allocates the water resources to the north parcel, south parcel, Granite Dells Parkway, and section 33. And that's the one that breaks the section of the development agreement that breaks down the various allocations. So what G does, and this is sort of to address some public concerns, is it tethers that the developer's right to the city water that's provided for in 219 vests, means it takes legal effect at the time once the developer has deposited into escrow a signed special warranty deed that would, when recorded, convey the 474 plus or minus acres to the city. So there was some concern that the order of things wasn't preferred, and so this does essentially sort of rearranges the order, sort of, so that once the deed is deposited into escrow, then the developer's right to the water as provided in 219 comes into effect. So, big picture wise, this the escrow, if things get approved today, the escrow could and most likely will open before the expiration of the 30 days, since, as we talked about before, there's some other transactions that are likely to occur with regard to the city's acquisition of the W parcel. So if that deed is deposited into that escrow once the 30 days is run, then we can execute on all the essentially the back-to-back-to-back closings of escrow. So other than that, that's the only sort of add or change from what we talked about 2 weeks ago on the development agreement.
Very good. Thank you, John. Any questions or comments from the council up to this point? Okay. If you don't know, there are public comment cards back here on the table. Feel free to fill those out. You can bring them up to Jennifer here, our city clerk, and you'll get 3 minutes to comment. So, George, I understand you want to address these as we go through the motions. Is that what you were suggesting?
My intent was to simply bring each item up for you to take action on. If it's your desire to take public comment on any of those items, you can pause anytime during this to take those public comment.
Well, why don't you roll through your presentation, then we'll take public comment altogether.
I actually don't have a presentation other than the motions.
Okay. All right.
I think
fair enough.
We've shown you pictures of this plenty of times.
Seen it a time or two, yes. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, George. Well, let's go to public comment. Jennifer, what do you have on Zoom at this point?
We currently, I'm sorry, we do have somebody. Okay, now his hand is down. So we don't currently have anybody on Zoom with their hand up.
And do you have any emails that you'd like to read or?
We don't have any emails. I do have a summary.
Okay.
So this is the balance of comments that have been received from the public since the last meeting on July 29th. A total of 7 comments have been received through the aed-council@prescott-az.gov email address created on the AED landing page of the city website and the speaker comments portal. Prior to Tuesday, June 29th study session, 107 comments were received, bringing the entire total to 114 comments received since the start of the public comment period for the DA in early June. Overall, the following issues or concerns were raised during the public comment period: water concerns, timing of transfer of open space, Peavine Trail crossing, extension of public comment time frame, incorporation of Save the Dells changes, no increase to number of units, public comment meetings in the evenings, guarantee of roads, focus on airport and not the Dells, price of land around the airport, one-sided agreement in favor of developer, Prop 401, lack of transparency.
Okay. And if you have folks on Zoom later, just let me know.
Okay, I will let you know.
And let's just go to public comment here in person.
Okay.
You have 3 minutes.
Kathleen Murphy.
Good morning. I think it's still morning. Thank you to the council and the mayor for letting me speak. I have been a member of this community for about 50 years.
And maybe just use that. Yeah.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Is it on?
Just, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Just a little ways.
I've been a member of the community for about 50 years and a native Arizonan. I think I'm here only to speak a word of caution because I have had some experiences in the past with decisions by the city that were not held up. So I guess what I'm here to do is to really bring forth my my cautionary concerns. I was one of many citizens who worked very hard in 2000 to add a 1-cent sales tax. It was clearly stated by the citizens and the council that 25% of these funds were to be used to purchase open land. Later, council chose to renege on this promise and only use 3% of those funds. They found a legal loophole which allowed them not to hold up the will of the citizens. I am concerned that this could happen again with Granite Dells agreement and water. Will the AED development be sustainable? The Southwest is in a mega drought. The 100 years of water purported to be a sure thing was based on water flow from the wettest period in 1,000 years in Arizona. Additionally, it has been repeatedly stated that the Chino Aquifer will be the community's safety net. The water from the Big Chino Aquifer is still in dispute. It could be owned by the Salt River Project as part of the Verde Valley's headwaters. The city of Phoenix, which is facing a huge mega drought, a huge drought, as we all know, if you read the Arizona Republic at all, is facing a drastic water shortage, has plans to dredge Bartlett Lake in order to retain water from that lake, which is fed by the Verde River. So if, in fact, the decisions by the city, which says that we own that water, which is in dispute, if we are incorrect and we do not own that water could end up being unavailable to us, and that safety net would not be available to the community. So I'm really, really concerned that we depend on two things: a 100-year study that was done during the wettest period, and number two, we're depending on a safety net that is still in dispute. Thank you. And I would also ask that the talk of the town be part of the public record. So I'm going to leave this with the clerk. This was in this morning's paper.
Thank you, Kathleen. Good to see you.
Thank you. Tom Rusing.
Good afternoon. I am Tom Rusing, Vice Chairman of Save the Dells, but I'm speaking today as a concerned citizen. My family arrived in Prescott in 1961, and Kathy and I moved back to Prescott in 1986 to raise our 3 sons. I spent 32 years serving as a general surgeon in the community. I have always appreciated the Prescott area with its natural beauty, downtown Courthouse Plaza, and all the things that make it special. But I have also seen what has happened in other beautiful, special communities where poorly planned growth, without a guiding vision, without strong leadership, and without community involvement, destroyed the things that made those communities special. 3.5 years ago, I had the privilege of joining Save the Dells, a grassroots organization of dedicated, talented people who saw the threat from development of one of those things that does make Prescott special, the iconic Granite Dells. To the surprise of many of us, that area was not already protected. There had been multiple missed opportunities to do so. Thanks to the effort of Save the Dells and a diverse cross-section of people from the region, we are here today to witness an historic vote on the AED annexation. The deal negotiated is far from ideal, but it does accomplish the primary goal of Save the Dells of preserving the core, iconic, unique heart of Granite Dells, which will be the centerpiece of another Save the Dells priority, and that is the Granite Dells Regional Park and Preserve. It has been a long and difficult struggle, and yet it should not have been. Thanks to Save the Dells and concerned citizens of Prescott and the region, things are changing. Leadership is changing, and priorities are shifting. A better vision of Prescott's future is being embraced. So we do have reason to celebrate today, but the work is not done. This is the beginning of a better course forward. We need people on the council that will hold the developer accountable for the hard-fought details laid out.
Excuse me, I'm going to interrupt. I have to caution speakers that campaign-style speeches are prohibited by law. You cannot use city resources to influence elections. So I'm going to caution you to not talk about changes in leadership and changes in the council, because it sounds a lot like campaigning on behalf of people. So just be very careful.
We need people on the council that will hold the developer accountable for the hard-fought details laid out in the development agreement, and the intent of the people of Prescott is honored. We need leadership with better vision for Prescott's future, especially regarding water, growth, open space, and our quality of life. We need citizens who are engaged and will demand that vision from our elected officials. Save the Dells would like to thank all the people of Prescott and the region that have joined us and supported us on this difficult but amazing journey. I personally would like to thank the dedicated, talented, passionate, and hardworking people on the Save the Dells committee that have given so much of their time and energy to help us as a community make Saving the Dells a reality. It has been an honor and privilege to be part of this group and this cause. Finally, on a personal note, I would like to thank my wife, Councilmember Kathy Rusi, who was willing to step up and represent the citizens of Prescott, who has played a critical role in making this agreement possible and a better deal for the citizens of Prescott. I love and admire her for her strength of character, for standing up for what is right, and for all the hard work on behalf of the people of Prescott. Thank you.
Amber Fields. Amber Fields, please.
Hello. I'm chairman of Save the Dells, and I'm here to deliver Save the Dells official comments. You're here to vote on Arizona Echo Development's development agreement and annexation. This is a historic day. For 5 years now, I've contributed thousands of unpaid hours meeting and working with my fellow committee members, city officials, people in the community, and Jason Giese, all with the goal of protecting the heart of the Granite Dells from development. This is the culminating moment for the work that so many people have invested. On May 24th, 2018, Save the Dells chairman Joe Trudeau gave a speech at Mile High Middle School where he introduced the 5 big things that it would take to get to this point. 1, the land, the Dells. We all love them. 2, the community. We have spoken loud and clear. 3, a crisis. AED's proposal was a crisis for Prescott at that time. 4, political will. This has been tough at times, but our shared commitment to this outcome has gotten us to places we never thought possible. There's been an evolution in city governance, one that must continue. 5, it would take a generous landowner. Jason Giese told me personally that he bought their 15,000 acres just for the Granite Dells. But after these years of debate, and sometimes all-out war, those acres are destined to be owned by all of us, the people of Prescott. While Save the Dells has not been able to get all of our desired safeguards into the DA, we're happy to say that we feel like we have achieved our main conservation goal. But we were not able to save the 1,000-year-old Native American pit houses in the south parcel. That's a big reason why we've come in short on those 500 acres. We encourage the city and the developer to continue the conversation about protecting this cultural site. This too is a piece of Prescott's history. We should honor the indigenous people who came before us and who still live here, and we should protect just 10 more acres to honor our shared heritage. And there are other concerns we have with the DA that we were not able to resolve. But you know what? That's compromise. The developer also did not get everything he would have liked. But we appear to have language in the DA sufficient to ensure we will save the 473.7 acres as public natural open space for all to love and enjoy. At the end of the day, and after so many years of hard work, Save the Dells encourages City Council to vote yes on AED's development agreement and annexation. This is our best shot to save this land. I want to thank the city for involving Save the Dells in the negotiations. We fought hard for a seat at the table, and we got it. I'd also like to thank AED for their commitment in this DA to protect their part of the Granite Dells as natural open space. But most of all, I'd like to thank everyone in this community that stood with Save the Dells in our fight to protect the land. Thousands of people took the time to make their voices heard. This is democracy in action, and this movement will continue to usher in a new era for Prescott that we can be proud of, honoring our past, honoring the land, and honoring future generations. For people, for wildlife, and for community. Thank you.
Thank you, Amber.
I'm sorry, I can't make out the first name. The last name is Fornara.
Jerry Smith.
Jerry Smith Fornara.
Hello, I'm Jerry Smith Panara, and on September 7th, I will have lived here 80 years. The reason that I am talking, and I am not happy with any of this, I think a lot of this was a rush job. When you're dealing with Del Webb and people like Giese, I wish we had had an attorney that understood things. I got all the different things and sent them to attorneys that really knew what they were doing. And there are just loopholes everywhere. Secondly, except for Steve Blair, we have Alice Deming, whose family settled the Dells long before any of you were around. And I was so glad that you talked today, too. You have no idea what came before you. And I know I had made some money and spent almost $3 million stopping the largest open pit mine that was going to go right behind Thumb Butte. $3 million of my own money. The Ruffners, the Keycappers, the James, all those people wanted the mines because they said the mines built the West. And I know that you had just come to town. In fact, I had just left. I was co-chairman of a presidential campaign that lost in 1972. We all are well aware. I wrote the Clean Air and Clean Water Acts, and when I hear a lot of you talk, I know you know nothing about water. I also have been appointed by Deb Hedlund, Secretary of Interior. We are going to be up at Hoover Dam. They're already emptying the other dam further up, Glen Canyon Dam. And when people say there's plenty of water here for development, None of them know what they're talking about. I am very, very negative about a lot of these things. I've, of course, known the Tenney family forever, and my family's been in farming and ranching here for over 150 years in Arizona, so we didn't just drop off the plane. I just want to tell you, I wish there had been better people negotiating. I'm happy that the Save the Dells did this, but I am not at all happy with this. And I think when you're dealing with Del Webb and Giese, buyer beware. Buyer beware.
That is all for public comment.
It's all the public comment cards you have, and then Zoom.
No, nobody on Zoom.
Okay. Before we go to council comments, Jason, would you like to say a few words?
Mayor, members of the council, quickly, thank you. Tough negotiations render good deals. Negotiations were tough. They were long. Took a lot of endurance. Your staff did a wonderful job. I have a different opinion. Council did a great job, and it was a wide variety of council. And I think the most important thing that maybe people don't understand or they don't want to recognize is this has been the most transparent process in my 25 years in Prescott. And I commend you guys for that. It's not easy to be transparent. And in the past, in this chamber, that's been a challenge. This council and this staff has done a wonderful job along those lines. So thank you for that. And that's all I've got.
Thank you.
Mayor, Rory Levy has his hand up. And now it's down. It keeps going up and down. I'm just going to... Rory, would you like to speak? Mr. Levy?
Rory Levy? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. I've been at all the meetings in the last few weeks, and during the June 15th study session meeting, I conveyed the following comments, which have not been addressed and incorporated in the development agreement. It's relating to the proposed telecom plan and map that I requested, and that Mr. Giese at the June 22nd meeting stated that on the record that he was okay with a proposed telecom plan and map in the AED development agreement, yet that has not been done, and that's an integral part of the infrastructure for this project. It's a large project. Specifically, I had said in my comments on June 15th, there's no mention of any specific cell tower locations on proposed new cell tower construction in the draft AED pre-annexation development agreement for cell service will need to be provided to over 3,000 residents in the subject parcels and the many guests of the proposed resort. So how will cell service be provided to them? Was my question. We need details in this before a voting meeting is scheduled. We have a voting meeting right now, and I'm requesting that since that wasn't addressed, I respectfully request that you postpone your vote until you can provide a telecom plan. Even the Planning and Zoning Commissioners have recommended pre-planning of telecommunications facilities when they had their meetings. So you're not following the Planning and Zoning's recommendation, and this should really be included. Address my comments and have the specific locations of the proposed cell tower construction. And I hope that that will be done at some points, even if you do vote today, but I think you should really postpone the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Rory.
That is all.
Everybody?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, before we go to vote, I'd like to open it up for the council for any comments that you have at this time. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Today is a really important day, and I think Amber really captured it. It's a culmination of a lot of things, and I'm really proud to be on council during this time and to be able to vote on this project. I want to thank Mr. Giese and our council negotiating team for working up to the very last hours to negotiate what I think is a really beneficial deal for the city. We're protecting the heart of the Dells. We're protecting land around the airport. And that was our main goal, and we are achieving that. And so I'm really proud to be here today, and I'm really glad to see such a great turnout for such a historic vote.
Very good. Thank you. Councilmember Rusing.
Thank you. Well, this is a very emotional day for me, and I'm having a hard time putting it into words, but I would like to thank all the brave people that started Save the Dells, Amber and Joe, and it took a lot of guts, and they hung in there. There was a lot of sacrifice involved, and I want to thank the community for seeing their vision. And I think we're one step closer to a regional park that hopefully will be our next goal. And I also would like to say, while we were mainly focused on saving the Dells, another beneficiary is our airport, which we are hopefully protecting from encroachment, and it will become an economic driver for our community. So I just want to say thanks, Mr. Giese, and to the rest of the council, and hopefully we'll all come together and have a grand bargain. Thank you.
Councilman Tenney.
I want to thank everybody as well for being here, for the public comments that we've received. Save the Dells has really played an instrumental role in getting us to where we're at. I kind of view these negotiations somewhat as a really nice sweater with some fuzz on it, and you should, pick the fuzz off as much as you can. But pretty soon, if you keep picking, you're going to get something, unravel it. And I think we're at the point where we've got enough fuzz off, and it's time to vote on the sweater. And I really appreciate all those who have gotten us to this point. I would suspect that of the interested parties, citizens, Save the Dells group themselves, the city, Mr. Giese and those he represents, etc., no one's 100% happy about this. That's what negotiations are about. And if there were a group that was 100% happy about this, we probably did something wrong. I think we've got it to a pretty good spot. It preserves land around the airport and protects the airport for future positive, low impact development in a positive way on our economy, and most importantly saves some critical pieces of an area that I've loved and have enjoyed and have spent time in since I was a child. So I'm excited to vote on this coming up.
Councilman Good.
Thank you, Mayor. I too want to thank the Save the Dells organization for their diligence and their involvement over this long period of time. When we first saw this adult developmental agreement, it had many flaws and areas that were not properly addressed, and I think Save the Dells and their commitment and their group has made this agreement a much more acceptable one. I think most of the issues have been addressed and adopted and corrected to an extent that we've got a pretty good agreement to go forward with, and especially the concerns I've had about protecting the airport and from encroachment and making sure that its future is assured. So I would have preferred a longer period of public consideration and review. Even this last amendment we just saw late yesterday afternoon. So to have public involvement and public concern and review, I think is important that the final developmental agreement have enough time for the public to consider. But I think we are rapidly moving to a decision today, and that's another issue. Future councils certainly will have to make sure that these commitments are properly kept. And as Councilman Tenney said, no contract negotiation of this complexity will allow issues to be totally resolved to the satisfaction of all parties. So with that said, I will support this DA with a commitment to closely monitor its adoption and the clauses that are adhered to over the course of time. And it'll be up to not only this council and future councils to make sure that the development clauses are held accountable to the developers, and the future of our city and the Dells and the airport and the northern annexations are properly enforced, so to speak. So with that said, I'm really happy to be involved in this historic event, and the future of Prescott and these areas, I think, are up to us and the future councils to make sure that they end up the way we expect them to. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Good. Councilman Sischka, I don't want to leave you out, but can you hear me, or would you like to make a comment or two?
I don't think he heard you.
No.
Yeah, this is Councilman Sischka. I'd like to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Just a short something. I think that it's time for this community to heal and move forward together. I'm going to vote to protect the airport and preserve the Dells in perpetuity in the city of Prescott. And that's all I had to say, Mayor.
All right. Thank you. Well, I think we're on the verge of a vote here. I would like to echo many of my colleagues here at the dais today and say thank you to our staff who've done a tremendous job. Michael Lamar, John Palladini, our planning staff. There's so many, but I really appreciate all the efforts, the input, whether it be from the airport or Parks and Rec. Everybody has really had a lot of input, a lot of good input, and I appreciate our staff and all that they've done to get to this place. I also want to thank the applicant, Jason Giese, Stuart Swanson, for all of your efforts and hanging in there with us. It has been a long road. We've said that before, but long and difficult, but well worth it to be here today. And so thank you for hanging in there with us. Amber, thanks to you and Joe for being willing to meet with us, and your input and feedback's been very helpful. So I appreciate all that you've done to get us to this place today. Thank you so much. This is a gift to our community. It's a gift to our region. It's something that will last for generations to come, and I'm very proud to be sitting here today, to be a small part in making this happen for our city. It's something that all of us will look back on and realize it was a very monumental moment and decision, and something that really will be lasting for my grandchildren and great-grandchildren and yours as well, to be able to have these tremendous assets in city hands to be leveraged for our quality of life and economic development in the future is something that we all can be very, very proud of. So thank you all for your commitment, your input, and your feedback here to the city. You're leaning into your mic.
You always forget me.
No, well, you didn't.
Used to going first, but I guess I'll go last.
Go ahead.
I want to thank everybody as well. You know, sitting on this dais for, 20 years. The first properties were purchased back in the late 1900s. And we've purchased over 2,000 acres out there. This is just a very big cap on top of the whole open space purchase. And I know there's much more to come. I want to thank everybody involved in it. It's been a long process. I won't reiterate all the things that have been said, but just to echo the sentiments of somebody that was born and raised here, that it is a crown jewel, and I'm glad to have this done.
Yeah, thank you, Councilman Blair. Okay, what I've done here is I've asked Mayor Pro Tem, for efficiency's sake, we have a number of motions that we need to go through here, and we will do that in an orderly fashion, but I've asked Mayor Pro Tem Scholl to make those motions for us so that we can get through them efficiently.
Thank you. So we have 10 motions that we'll go through, and I will just start with the first one. Mayor, I move to adopt Resolution 2021-1785, approving the development agreement, City Contract 2022-011.
Second.
I have a motion and a second from Councilman Sischka. So please vote. Can you turn on the... And Councilman Sischka?
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 2021-1768, approving annexation ANX 18-004 AED North.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote. And Councilman Sishka?
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
I move to approve equivalent City of Prescott zoning for AED North upon annexation to be rural estate 2-acre RE 2-acre.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote. Councilman Sishka?
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
I move to adopt ordinance number 2021-1769, approving annexation ANX 18-005 AED South.
I'll second that. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Councilman Sishka?
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Mayor, I move to approve equivalent City of Prescott zoning for AED South upon annexation to be rural estate 2-acre RE 2-acre, single family 35 SF 35, and single family 18 SF 18.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote. Councilman Sishka?
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Mayor, I move to adopt resolution 2021-1786, approving an IGA with the town of Prescott Valley.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote. Councilman Sishka?
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Mayor, I move to approve memorandum of master plan for AED North, MPA 18-002.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Councilman Sishka?
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 2021-1770, approving the rezoning of various portions of AED North to NOS, IG, IT, MU, SF6, and SF6MH.
Second.
PLN 18-018.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Councilman Sishka?
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Mayor, I move to approve memorandum of master plan for AED South, MPA 18-003.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Councilman Sishka?
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
And lastly, Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 2021-1771, approving the rezoning of various portions of AED South to NOS, SF6, MFH, and SPC, PLN 18-019.
Second that. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Councilman Sishka?
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Very good. I believe that's all of our motions. Is that correct? All right. Thank you all for being here today. This meeting is adjourned.